Good afternoon, my name is Jo and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Today I'm going to show you how I made this daisy. So first of all you will need 5 large daisy punches, which I have punched from the thick Whisper White. You'll need 3 of the small daisies, which I've also punched from thick Whisper White. You'll need 1 green 1 1/8 inch. I've used Mossy Meadow of the scallop circle, and you'll need 3 of the scallop circle the same size in the yellow, which is Daffodil Delight, which I've used. Okay, so I'm going to show you quickly how I did the actual petals of the daisy. You can do this using a bone folder, or if you have some kind of ball modelling tool type thing, that also works really well. So I'll show you with the bone folder, as most of us have these. You just want to support the base of your petal, and you're going to lightly stroke it with your bone folder, and I always put my thumb on top. It just gives it a gentle curl. You don't want it to be really tight curled, just a really gentle curl. Okay, and then I'm going to take just a pricking tool, and I just want to make a hole in the middle of it, like so. Okay, and you're going to repeat that for 5 of the large daisy tops, and then you're going to do it for 3 of the smaller ones. Okay, so they will look like that when you're done. You're going to put those to one side just for a moment. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 1 1/8 inch scalloped circle. So you punched 3 in the Daffodil Delight and 1 in the Mossy Meadow. Now I've pre-prepared these, but I will quickly just show you how I did those. So first of all, with the yellow ones, you can see where the scallops are. So you're going to cut towards the middle, but you don't want to go right into the center of the middle, and move along one of the curved edges like so. Okay, and then you're going to go back in and just cut down the middle of that. So can you see you've got 2 like pieces, and you're going to do that for each little curve. Don't worry about being too precise about it. It doesn't matter, because this is the underneath of the centre of your flower, if that makes sense. So just carry on around until you've done the whole lot, and then again you're just going to punch a hole in the centre so it looks like that. Okay, so you do that with all 3. I'll put those to one side. And with the green one, what I've done is I've cut it. If I just do it quickly on here, I've cut it again, not quite to the centre, but I've gone 2 times this time, so it will look like that, and you're going to do that all the way round. Okay, the next thing you need to take is a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock, and this measures 1 centimetre by about 20 centimetres. It doesn't have to be precise, but just that sort of distance. And then you're going to cut these to make like a fringe. So it's a very fine fringe though. So what I tend to do is I start at one end, and you're going to go about 2/3 of the way down, I would say, and you're going to trim, just moving your scissors a very, very slight amount each time. So then you end up with this frill. Okay, so I've already pre-done that one as well. Okay, so that's the actual daisy head itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you very quickly how I did the leaves. Okay, so for the leaves I've actually used the fern type die that's taken from the Tropical Thinlits dies. It's the right sort of shape, although obviously a daisy leaf is not a fern. But I also wanted to try and sort of replicate this sort of fern that appears on the Daisy Lane stamp set. So I sort of played around a little bit, see what was looking better. And this sort of worked. So I'm going to show you quickly how I did that. So obviously when these die cuts are cut out, they're actually the reverse of the fern itself. So what I did was I turned them actually onto the reverse, and I just run a bone folder over the very edges just to soften them, because you do get that little ridge where they've been cut. And then I'm going to use a Mossy Meadow ink pad, so the same colour as the actual card, just so it gives a tone. Now this isn't to in any way sort of replace these fern type leaves. All it's doing is it's giving the actual leaves themselves a little bit of texture. So rather than be sort of flat green, which is obviously quite plain, I'm just going to use, and what I did is I lined that point up right with the top, and then this bit down the bottom just towards that middle piece. Okay, so you can see it doesn't cover it, but what it does do, it gives that texture. Okay, so once I've done those, I'm actually going to take my sponge and very lightly, I just sponged over the edges of those leaves, and then you can gradually see it sort of blends into one. I mean, you have to look quite closely to see the edges. Okay, so just to recap, here are all your elements. So I've got 5 of the large daisies, 3 of the small daisies, 3 of the Daffodil Delight scallop circles, 1 of the Mossy Meadow circles, 4 of the leaves, and our strip.